famagazige, okojege alenge, 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 famagazige, hey, from my heart to yours, hey.
Susie Ibarra.
I know. Shall we do one shorty? How's everybody? Welcome! Welcome to New York, if you haven't been here in a while. Right. I'm not going to do any elaborate speeches. We'll save that for those, yes. But we'd like to play another number for you. As you see, we're mixing traditions. We have two different instruments, the kulintang from Indonesia or Philippine, and we have the udu from Nigeria. And so let's see what we can do. fade this out. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's good. Awesome.
said, but when are you going to be Judith?
Right. Right.
That's where it's at. That's where it's at.
Is it not time to admit that the dominant male political leadership style has to be changed?
But you're the mother of 3 children.
It always shocked me that in this great country we have allowed governing to be done by only one part of the population.
You have a very, very sexy image.
I mean, don't you get upset when every time you look at the television screen, they're making decisions about what's going to happen to Europe, Soviet Union, and the Middle East, and all you see are men around the negotiating table?
Oh, now don't.
Is that the world? Is that not perhaps the missing equation?
I don't really know. I've never had any lady come into my dressing room and go, hi, Veda, hi, Veda, hi, Veda.
I'm a hard-boiled egg, and if I don't believe myself, I'm going to come to no good end.
That what's described in the same.
I didn't know how I would use my mind, even if I could.
Oh, did you? I bet.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
You're so handsome.
Sure. Oh,
Wait a minute.
You're blushing now.
And I was trying to make a connection.
My father.
And,
my mother.
and,
Do her. My mother.
No.
Father.
and,
My mother.
Good.
Your sister.
Good.
Your sister.
Good.
Your sister.
New York City. New York.
Queens,
New York.
Brooklyn, the Bronx.
New York City,
New York.
New York.
New York. Queens.
New York.
New York.
New York.
New York and the Bronx.
New York.
New Yorkers. New York. New York.
Brooklyn, Manhattan. South. Beautiful ability.
Songs.
But
And she was.
You sure you're up to this now?
And all parties.
Shall we leave sister people from what I am?
That.
Double standard.
Change.
People.
Many years ago,
North.
We took him home.
Tall brothers, because so
Woman. Meeting.
Governor.
psychology.
Philosophy. Strong.
popular.
Okay, you got it? All right. Okay, so yo. Okay, you got it? All right. Okay, so yo. Okay, so yo. Okay, so yo. Go ahead and get that going, right? Right? All right. So that's it. Amen. Go ahead and get that going, right? Right? All right. Right? All right. Right? All right.
I didn't know I had an accent.
Right? All right.
I swear I didn't. And you know, when you didn't have an accent, I would say, oh, you have an accent, you just talk like people on TV. You know?
Someone said to me that couldn't get any lower. Then what was happening in his life?
Haircut.
That's wrong in New York. Most people think, what could I do?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think, what should I do? That's why what you feel the music is going this way and should go that way. I went this way, is that you find what you feel is the logical course of its continuity.
Somebody get me somebody to get this off me!
But that psychology perhaps is involved with the fact that I'm Jewish. What is known as Jewish paranoia. I don't feel comfortable enough to feel that everything is on my side, that it's going to work just the way I want it. I'm not suspicious, I'm just careful.
Bensonhurst, Dumbo, Gowanus, Red Hook, and Williamsburg.
Avenue A, B, C, D. Alphabet City.
Rockaway Beach.
First Avenue. Payon San Ni. Payon San Ni. Payon San Ni. People like to drink for. Stop at the mall, walk their dog, time in the water.
Your brother was ripped off by the salesman. I just want you to think about it, okay? He's set up by this guy, takes the money, makes another sale someplace else. This way, you double your profits, you double your pleasure, double your fun, and like that.
Lieutenant, I'm filled with grief. Get lost.
Hey, Georgie Porgy, lemonade pie.
The Lower East Side.
The Lower East Side.
通称アルファベットシティ。
Jamaica Twins.
I'm from Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn, Nazi Brooklyn.
You only pay Heckler in New York, you know?
What's the story? You want a party, you want to dance, you want a great night out, come on down to Jerry's Vista. But Jerry, what's the story? Unbelievable lights, unbelievable sound, giant dance floor, really big drink, talk about atmosphere, in other words, see for yourself. The party starts every night at 9, and I'll be here waiting for you. That's the story!
No labor, no slogan, no party.
I taught him borderline to song and dance, man.
Since we're such a consumer society.
So all you gotta do is tell me when the next sale is coming down, and then you just sit and wait.
I'll look into it.
Hey, when you tell me you're gonna look into it, I'm telling you that's all you gotta do. Look.
I was reviewing my life.
Look.
Read it back, my dear.
I was reviewing my life.
Look.
Read it back, my dear.
I was reviewing my life.
Look.
Read it back, my dear. How much longer are you here?
I was told some specifics.
I just walked off the stage about 15 minutes ago.
Put the bread in it and sop it up, you know what I mean?
We all serve at his pleasure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her. You know.
Do you have a dog?
Yeah, I have a dog and a cup
You
of
like
coffee.
coffee? Yeah. We're just having coffee. I'm giving you the coffee cup. You get to take the coffee cup home with
Okay,
you.
you're so nice. You're gorgeous.
Oh, you're right back at you. So fun. Isn't it fun?
Okay, now our fax number is 212-975-9123.
He's oldest.
All right.
So
I remember when we did this. All right. I remember when we did this. All
Dr.
right.
Daddy.
I remember when we did this.
Dr.
All right.
Daddy. Mine sound much better now.
All
Dr.
right.
Daddy.
All
Mine
right.
sound much better now. To own the houses, to own U.S. Steel.
Let's do it.
And this is what, in effect, killed him. Because there was something in him which could not bend.
All right.
He could only be broken.
Get all
Broken.
Get all
Broken.
Get all
Broken.
Get all
All right. I remember when we did this.
A lot of people, I'm sure, will not get on that. And if those pleasant fountains, something, whatever, we should stray lower. They're pleasant till fountains lie.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
He just loves you and wants to see you.
My grandfather, I would call him Lito, short for Abuelito.
It's very important to have those kind of goals for a country, you know, and that kind of far-reaching, you know, thing happening.
I'm there. Thank you. So wonderful to be honored.
I've just received a telegram from our New York office.
I don't have to have any storytelling responsibility.
I like to see how I'm doing. I like to see how I'm doing. I like to see how I'm doing. I like to see how I'm doing.
Jamaica Queen's native.
I have a responsibility to describe well.
It's big for me, it's big for my family, for me to come back home.
In New York.
In New York?
In New York
Where
City.
you from?
Yes, where I'm from, Brooklyn girl.
Okay. You're
Yes,
Girl made it big.
I don't know about all that, but I've had a good time.
You know, and I've always, as a kid, I used to, like when I used to play around, so it'd be nice. And, you know, and I've always, as a kid, I used to, like when I used to play around, so it'd be nice. And, you know, and I've always, as a kid, I used to, like when I used to play around, so it'd be nice. And, you know, and I've always, as a kid, I used to, like when I used to play around, so it'd be nice. Yep. Put me on the map.
Rockaway beat corporate music, shorter, more to the point. 50s and 60s. 70s.
I'm in the 80s, yes, that's the 80s.
Beat film in the 50s.
1958. I'm going to get emotional. Like, there's a buck out there.
Deep-rooted fear
of... You really got me, okay? You really got me that far.
nature.
Rock and roll that you could dance to. And it's just a very fast 4/4 pace, musically speaking. Oh, I guess like a locomotive. It's just continuous, straight, non-stop. 4/4, 4/4, 4/4, 4/4, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4, 2, 4/4,
66, 96.
The 1, 2, 3, 4.
66, 96.
The 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 3, 4.
100,000.
15. 1, 3, 4.
100,000.
30. 1, 3, 4.
100,000.
Street life, growing up.
It's gonna be amazing, and words can't explain, I'm sure.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello. Folks, can I get your attention, please? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, it sounds like people are having a good time, so I'm very grateful for that. Okay. What? Your teacher voice, right. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. I'm Alan Kornberg, and I have the honor of chairing the Board of Trustees of Bennington College. And it's great to see so many people here and so many animated people here, but I'd appreciate it if you'd be quiet for just a minute. Let me start by thanking a couple of people. First, to Jack Bankowski, class of '81, and Matthew Marks, class of '85, for enabling us to invade their beautiful gallery. Unfortunately, they're on the West Coast and couldn't be here, but we appreciate their generosity. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being here. As I'll describe in a couple of minutes, this is a very important event in the life of Bennington College, and we are absolutely thrilled that you're here to share this moment. As you all know from the emails that have bombarded you, that we are here to launch a campaign. And it's the first comprehensive capital campaign that Bennington has had in over a decade. There are dozens of people that have been working very hard for the past 4 years on the quiet phase of the campaign, and we're very excited to now finally go public and to reveal what all this hard work has generated to date. You may have read that we had a celebration in Los Angeles, which was a great success. And this is our New York launch, and thrilled that so many people are here to hear about what we're doing. As you probably know, the theme of the campaign is "The World Needs More Bennington." Thank you, Marco, for that. I would guess that each person in this room would have a slightly different spin on that title. And that's good, that's great. But I bet we could all agree on a couple of things that make Bennington incredibly distinctive and unique and very important. First, how our students, including many former students who are in the room, would agree that moving through the academic plan is something very unique to Bennington. The experiences that you've had in fieldwork term are also distinctive. The expertise that our faculty brings as teacher practitioners is something that I don't think is replicated anywhere else. And the emphasis that the school has always placed on incorporating the arts into the liberal arts is something that has always distinguished us and continues to do so. So I think that even though you may interpret the slogan differently, I hope you would all agree that the world needs more Bennington people, more Bennington leaders in their communities, leading in their own distinctive and very important ways. The alumni that are here tonight, and even just talking for a few minutes with several of you, have taken incredibly different paths to and from Bennington, and each has benefited from their experience in Bennington in different ways. But all have benefited from the core programs that our capital campaign seeks to support. And those include, first and foremost, financial aid. And the need for that is obvious. Fieldwork term, which is a distinctive and incredibly important aspect of a Bennington experience. Public action, an area that the college has grown in so many impressive and wonderful ways. The Bennington Writing Seminars, and of course, the beautiful campus that we have. As for the campus, I think many of you know that it is going through an unprecedented transformation, literally as we speak. At the heart of that transformation is an incredible renovation of Commons. We're reopening for the first time in a zillion years the third floor and reclaiming 15,000 square feet. That 15,000 square feet will include 19 new learning spaces and creating a new home for the humanities. I think you all know the importance of Commons. It's where Martha Graham danced. It's where Peter Drucker taught. It's where Ralph Ellison spoke and Bob Dylan performed. It's where I ate a lot of tuna fish sandwiches. It also served as a crossroads for some of our nation's most creative thinkers, including John Dewey, Zora Neale Hurston, Buckminster Fuller, E.E. Cummings, Ralph Ellison, Jules Olitsky, Ken Nolan, Clement Greenberg, and on and on and on. I will say the folks that visit the campus and the board in particular has had the pleasure of seeing Commons in progress. And I can assure you it is an absolutely stunningly beautiful, clever, and thoughtful renovation. The building is being preserved, it's being enhanced, and it's going to be a thriving center for Bennington for many, many years to come. The spaces are flexible, they accommodate academic programs, dining, social spaces, and I just think it's going to be an incredibly exciting event. I encourage you to come visit and see it. Commons is going to open in the spring, so if you can get there, whether for Alumni Weekend in the fall or some other time, it's really exciting and wonderful to see. But restoring buildings is not enough. The college's leadership has been laser focused on building endowment. Yes, we are talking about endowment, and this is Bennington College. I know those are usually not in the same sentence, those words, but we are very much focused on endowment. And building endowment is one of the principal and most important goals of the campaign. For 87 years, Bennington has somewhat miraculously pioneered and innovated without much in the way of financial resources. And from day one of her presidency, one of Marco's principal strategic objectives, enthusiastically endorsed and embraced by the board, has been to take the steps necessary to ensure the long-term financial viability of the college. And here's the really important news, which I think is pretty astounding. At a time when many small colleges, as you know, are closing, including potentially Hampshire College, and when the value of a liberal arts education is being questioned in many quarters, thanks to the generosity of donors who believe in Bennington, since we began the quiet phase of the campaign, we've added $33 million of gifts and pledges to the endowment. So what is our goal? Our goal is a very simple, straightforward one. We want to have a $100 million endowment so that the college is not perennially living hand to mouth. And we promise that we will put that money to good use. We're not going to lock it away. We're going to put it to work to ensure the continuation of programs fundamental to a Bennington education. It'll be invested in faculty and students, and it will provide the college with the creative freedom needed to continue to build new programs that resonate with our values and long-term goals. We've been incredibly fortunate to already receive extraordinary support for the campaign, and Bennington is much stronger because of it. There's one donor who couldn't be here tonight, but I'm going to call her out, and that is Mary Bucksbaum Scanlon. I don't know if any in the room know her. Mary was in class of '91, and she is a new trustee of the college. She has made a $12 million pledge to the campaign. $10 million of Mary's gift will go directly to endowment, and the remaining $2 million will be dedicated to current use projects. To give some context, because Mary is not alone, since we announced the quiet phase since we began the quiet phase of the campaign, we have had more than 8,000 gifts, And with Mary's commitment, I can tell you that we have raised more than $90 million. As I said, Mary could not be here this evening, but she wanted all of us to know that she's inspired by the trajectory of the college and by the creative work of the faculty and students done every day. Mary's contributing in another way. You may have heard about the Art for Access program, which is another great innovation that will help the college in its educational mission and financially. And Mary has decided to donate an extraordinary trove of artworks that belong to her late mother, Melva Buxbaum, as well as books to our library. And Melva was known as a very, very savvy and wonderful collector. And we're going to benefit for many years from this extraordinary gift. So on behalf of the entire college community, I want to extend our deep gratitude to Mary and her husband, Pat, for this incredible show of support. As I said, the title of the campaign is "The World Needs More Bennington," and I think that's obviously true at this moment in time when we need institutions of higher education that seek to enlighten, to forge bonds across barriers, and to prepare future generations to help solve our most pressing problems. Bennington responds to that call each and every day, and this is a moment to confirm our commitment to a very, very unique and effective institution. The many and varied accomplishments of those in the room proves what Bennington has to offer the world. So although the campaign is about securing financial support for the future, it's also a reaffirmation and acknowledgement of the human capital that built Bennington more than 80 years ago and that will sustain it for years to come. The energy, enthusiasm, community, and advocacy in this room is Bennington, and the world needs more of you. It's a very exciting time for the college, and the future could not be brighter. Many of my fellow trustees have been extraordinarily generous in making leadership gifts in support of the campaign. I know that many others in the room tonight have also been consistently generous in their support of the college, and I cannot thank you enough. Now that the campaign is public, we hope that you will continue to support this incredibly important effort and get your friends to do so as well. But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, thank you for your support, and thank you for your belief in Bennington's future. So now we have a special treat, which is a video, so that you know this really is a real effort, and see if you can identify who the narrator is. Thanks so much.
At a time when the world urgently needs institutions that embrace the challenge of the planet's diversity and complexity, the promise of Bennington has never promised more.
Bennington alums have an extraordinary ability, not just to identify the problem, but to come up with creative solutions. If the creative process is at the core, if that's the heart of who you are and what you do, not only will your life be different, the world will be different. Just take a minute to imagine it. This is an extraordinary moment to invest in Bennington.
My life is about music. I have a profound belief in the actual art form, but I realize that we have to make this case for other people. A leader will be somebody who is not bound by traditional thinking, who is willing to lead towards reimagination of what their art form or their society or their institution can be like. When you're trained as a musician, you bring a lot of discipline to what you do. How you learn a piece of music, how you work in a team with other people, how you plan. I have found that the greatest challenges in work are human challenges, emotional challenges. And the time at Bennington was transformative in terms of interaction with other people. Nobody ever saying, you can't do this. The experience of how to learn was what I learned at Bennington.
The notion of interdisciplinarity has been a fundamental component of my education, and it has been the most important.
Today, really to celebrate all of you, to celebrate the community you make, to celebrate the extraordinary things you do in the world, and to celebrate the remarkable things you make possible for others. Those of you who haven't been up to campus lately, you can wait till June when Commons opens, but then you should come. You should come to see it, but you should come to feel it. One of the things I hear from alums who haven't been back in a while, I see a few of you there, who haven't been back in a while, is they want to know, does it still feel like Bennington? Does it have the vibrancy? Does it have the excitement? Does it have the creative power that Bennington has always had? And I can tell you unequivocally that the answer is an enthusiastic yes. And there are people in this room who can tell you that. And there are people in this room who are eager to tell you that, but you should come see for yourselves. You should come see for yourselves in September for reunion. If you can't wait, you should come see for yourselves in June for commencement and the opening of Commons. If you can't come for either of those, well, damn it, you should come some other time because you all need to feel it. And you need to feel it not just because it will enliven you and energize you and remind you, but because everybody needs a dose of Bennington. Everybody needs a dose of Bennington because around every interesting corner is a Bennington person. Behind almost every interesting initiative is a Bennington person. As you said to me when I walked in, or when you walked in, I should say, Bennington helps people to realize that is what you all do. That is what you do across sectors, across industries. That is what you do in the world of art and the world of letters, the world of business, the world of entrepreneurial ventures. You make new things possible. Because Bennington is a training ground for, thank you, and some of them are in the super social group in the other room. And there's Nick Brooke has run away with my $3 million, with your $3 million, I should say. And tonight I want to say thank you to a few people in particular, of course, Jack and Matthew, also to Erin Chapman, class of 1995, and her team for producing the event. Mary Cleaver, class of 1976, for the wonderful tiny pieces of food which are amazing and delicious. And of course to our performers, faculty members Susie Ibarra and Michael Wimberly, who had to go to a gig, but this is their most important gig. And to Dan Siegler, Anna Peretz-Rogovoy, and Christina Campanella for the wonderful performance. Thank you so much. And I will say that I don't need any more evidence of why the world needs more Bennington, though I'm always happy to have it and happy to hear it. But I want to talk a little bit about some of what our students are doing today and some of what all of you are doing out in the world. This year, Bennington students applied architectural theory to cultivate community on campus. They studied media imagery to address ocean plastics pollution as part of a national effort that has its roots at Bennington. They examined the role of organized religion in public life through an original theatrical production. And our new MFA in Public Action candidates are using theater to understand gentrification and sculpture to create community. I'm not going to list everyone here today, but I want to give you a taste of the energy that you will feel when you come back. When we say the world needs more Bennington, I mean actually something quite specific, which is that the world needs more Bennington people. needs more creators and imaginers like all of you in the world. We can fill this gallery, and that's great, but we need to fill the world with the Bennington ethos. Not everyone, unfortunately, gets to go to Bennington. You all are the lucky ones. And so we lucky ones have an obligation to bring more Bennington to the world. We lucky ones have an obligation to engage people in the Bennington way, to generate new things in their entirety where they did not previously exist. And I can see, just scanning the room, at least 7 people, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, who I know have done that. To see problems through multiple lenses and tackle challenges in a different light. To look at a problem in all of its dimensions, be able to walk around it, think inside of it. That is the promise of a Bennington education. It should be the promise of all education, and certainly all higher education, but the rest of the world isn't there yet. So it's our job to bring it. To adapt to an increasingly global and modularized workforce, to be thinking about the future before the future is here. To work comfortably in diverse groups, to think about real complex human problems from every angle imaginable, and to see art in every dimension of our daily lives. These are only some of the traits that characterize a Bennington education and all of you wonderful Bennington people. And these are only some of the things of which the world needs a great deal more. Our students are, of course, all over the world every winter doing fieldwork terms. They're everywhere from Yale and Arizona State University to Google to Zatari refugee camp. They are all over the world. And your support makes that possible. Your support of fieldwork term grants, your support of public action efforts, your support of financial aid, all of these things are what make it possible for the world to have more Bennington, for the world to be more Bennington. Without you, none of it is possible. That's what that $90 million is for, and that's just a start, by the way. But every gift, you stop laughing, Isaac. Every gift, right? So I'll be coming for your $5. Okay. Every gift makes a difference. The $5 gift makes a difference, and I mean it. The $5 million gift. In just the past few months, our students, our current students, I could go on and on about the alums, but we had a group of current students premiere at Sundance. The only undergraduates at Sundance. Last year, they were at Tribeca. So our students are out in the world helping people to see in new ways, and you all make that possible. And there is so much more ahead for them. There is so much more ahead for them because you all help to provide them with fieldwork term jobs that help them to build the networks, that help them to launch out into the world in extraordinary ways. So on their behalf, thank you also for that. Our goal is ambitious, $150 million overall, $100 million for endowment. As you know, we're at $90 million overall and about $60 million for endowment, which is a long way from where we were in 2013, which was $11 million in the endowment. So we have come far, but nobody can relax because there is so much more to do, right? We have to get from here to there, and it's all of your job to do it, yes, with your $5 gifts and your $5 million gifts, but also to engage others, to use your Bennington network to build the Bennington network. And I want to be clear here too, while yes, we want every alum and every parent and every grandparent to be in the fold, to be supporting our students, because it matters more than just for the individual, it matters for the future we make. But we also want you to be engaging others, people who don't yet know enough about Bennington, people who don't yet understand all that Bennington can make possible. So I'll give one example here, and I'm not going to look at him because he'll hide, but there is a trustee, Michael Hecht, who has helped us to build some extraordinary programs. Michael himself did not have the great good fortune to go to Bennington, I'll just say it that way. But he is an extraordinary trustee, and he has made possible two vital programs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on either one, but one is called Museum Fellows Term, with support from the Helen Frankenthaler Foundation and the Mellon Foundation. And the other is Lortel Term. So we have students who are embedded for fieldwork term across off-Broadway theaters all over New York City. They get to work in those theaters, they get to learn from the best, the most experienced theater runners in the country about the business of theater. What does it take to make it happen? It's one thing to have an idea, but the hallmark of a Bennington education is the ability to bring that idea to the world. In this case, to bring that idea to the stage. So those students are fully supported to work in those theaters. And by the way, they get free tickets to as much off-Broadway theater as they can possibly consume. I would like to spend my fieldwork term that way, but I don't get to do it. But these kinds of programs that many of you have the power to make possible, not just through the power of your purse, but through the power of your connections, through the power of your networks, through the power of your imagination. Because that's what it takes, is imagining the possibility, and then we will work with you to make it possible. So really, I want to say thank you to all of you. I want to encourage you, all of you, to be engaged, to participate, whatever way makes sense for you. Nothing is too small, nothing is too big, but nothing is too small for you all to bring more Bennington to the world, because it is in all those small steps that we will help more people to bring more beauty, more art, more creativity, more imagination, more new ways to solve complex human problems in every possible venue. You all are the ones who will make that happen. Thank you.
At a time when the world urgently needs institutions that embrace the challenge of the planet's diversity and complexity, the promise of Bennington has never promised more.
Bennington alums have an extraordinary ability, not just to identify the problem, but to come up with creative solutions. If the creative process is at the core, if that's the heart of who you are and what you do, not only will your life be different, the world will be different. Just take a minute to imagine it. This is an extraordinary moment to invest in Bennington.
My life is about music. I have a profound belief in the actual art form, but I realize that we have to make this case for other people. A leader will be somebody who is not bound by traditional thinking, who is willing to lead towards reimagination of what their art form or their society or their institution can be like. When you're trained as a musician, you bring a lot of discipline to what you do. How you learn a piece of music, how you work in a team with other people, how you plan. I have found that the greatest challenges in work are human challenges, emotional challenges. And the time at Bennington was transformative in terms of interaction with other people. Nobody ever saying, you can't do this. The experience of how to learn was what I learned at Bennington.
The notion of interdisciplinarity has been a fundamental component of my education. And it has been the most important part in my development as an architect, as a designer, as an artist. I have always had the ambition to push the kind of architecture that I envision to be more aligned with a contemporary perception of space, which is about temporality, transformation. It is about motion. The emerging technologies such as virtual and augmented reality allow us to combine the physical environment with digital content. We can initiate change in that digital environments the same way that we do in a physical space. In order to produce substantial work in any field now is an incredibly difficult and collaborative process. A multidisciplinary way of thinking which allows for listening, understanding, and synthesizing multiple perspectives is a fundamental part of a Bennington education.
The world needs more Bennington because it needs entrepreneurs and experimenters who bridge differences and find common ground. The world needs more Bennington because it needs leaders who know how to listen. The world needs more Bennington because it needs free thinkers and flexible problem solvers with the capacity to make change across traditional borders. Because art can elevate all of the work we do. That art teaches empathy and uplifts the human experience.